Chat, guys. One video of black mold conspiracy and
blockbuster video game
garbage woke content. Chat, I'm gonna try. Chat, I know nothing about the Snow White stuff. I'll give it a try.
It's looking like the biggest dumpster fire to come out of the company so far. Rachel Zegler, the actress playing Snow White, is actually proud of her hatred for the character and the story, calling the prince.
Wait, what? I'm Snow White? No, I'm not.
For the character and the story, calling the prince of the story a stalker, saying that she thought it was too scary and that she's maybe seen it twice across her entire life.
Her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
However, this was...
Guys, if she doesn't like what the character looks like and what the character does, why is she playing the role? Or why is she even interested in doing the movie? I don't get it.
Just a one-off. Nearly every decision Disney's made towards this movie has announced the same type of stupidity. For example, instead of 7 dwarfs, Snow White is going to meet 7 diverse magical creatures. The prince will be cut altogether, and the story won't revolve around love at all. Instead, Snow White's going to pursue her dreams of becoming a leader, a gold boss, and seizing power for herself. So, how did it come to this? Snow White is an...
What? Alright, bro. Alright, man. Oh, shit. Oh, no. No, guys, he's dramatizing it. Let's not.
Part of Disney.
I'm not gonna overthink it, chat. This is just like he's just being dumb as fuck.
I mean, it's not an exaggeration to say that this film was the backbone of hundreds of millions of childhood. So one of the most famous love stories, up there with Romeo and Juliet in its cultural significance, is going to be about girl boss attitudes instead. I mean, it's an insult to even call this movie Snow White. The movie seems like a parody of modern Disney, but it's genuinely just the standard for them now. As for years, they've been pumping out flop after flop, sequels and remakes that all tell the same story by hijacking people's childhood classics. A few of the more recent ones are The Little Mermaid, Peter Pan, Wendy, Pinocchio, Mulan, Aladdin, The Lion King, the list just goes on. And there's a bunch of similarities between all of these movies. They all got middling to poor reviews, and they all barely broke even or just flat out lost money. Even the critics couldn't justify them, and audiences definitely weren't interested in these movies.
I think a big reason is that, yeah, maybe there's some intertwined stuff, but the main drive is that reboots are shit. I think people are tired of seeing and hearing the same thing.
But more importantly though, they were all completely unnecessary. And there's a few good reasons for all of these failures, and a huge reason as to why Snow White is going to fail at the box office. And the most obvious one is that nobody wanted these movies to begin with.
Yeah.
The originals are classics, made with love and care for the fairy tales or stories they're telling. Over decades and decades of history, they all rose to the top and kept their place in culture because of this. So trying to remake them immediately puts you in competition with some of the best movies ever made, which is ridiculous when you take a look at what the remakes bring to the table. They're just bad films, plain and simple. They have some good qualities, of course, and it's hard to generalize. The visual effects are often stunning, and the actors try their best with what they're given. But with few exceptions, all these films have absolutely awful writing. The way they treat their characters is almost childlike in its simplicity. The heroines of these movies aren't flawed or interesting at all. Instead, it's the world that gets forced to change around them. Mulan's a perfect example of this. In the original, Mulan is no... different from anyone else from the outside. She struggles at first, but overcomes her obstacles through hard work, perseverance, and the strength of her will. In the remake though, Mulan is given superpowers instead. Only they're not really superpowers, instead they're explained through a bastardization of the Chinese idea of qi. The end result is a character that doesn't change or grow because she's already finished her arc before she's even started. And a final irony of the Mulan film is that while it sold itself under the buzzword of diversity, it was one of the most exploitative films in modern history. I mean, most of the filming took place in the Chinese province of Xinjiang, the same province where China is imprisoning and torturing millions of its minority peoples in re-education camps. with the movie even giving credits and thanks to the local Chinese government, including the specific department responsible for these re-education camps. Or in more plain words, concentration camps. Mulan's a result of the standard heroine template that Disney uses in all of their modern movies. Without flaws or growth, these characters are just
I don't know if this is accurate or not. I'm just assume that it is for now.
Let's say the set of traits and qualities which the corporations have decided are what makes a strong female character, a girl boss, and they're always the most powerful character in the story, to the point where the conflict loses all of its momentum. Watching Captain Marvel feels like an episode of One Punch Man, without any of the good bits, just waiting for her to finally and effortlessly win. They'll also magically gain whatever ability they need to continue the plot, like in the newer Star Wars movies, when Rey gets her new healing powers or her sudden mastery.
Yeah, we saw this same sort of criticism in the video.
Once they get it, they immediately know what to do and how to use it. At the end of the movie, they haven't learned anything about themselves actually related to their struggles and their journey. Instead, it's the world that changes and realizes their superiority. Like She-Hulk, who's almost immediately in full control of her powers. She effortlessly integrates into her identity. It took Bruce Banner a movie, a multi-film character arc, and a whole cinematic universe to get to that stage. But a final part of the strong female character template is that they're always obsessed with their own power and leadership. Of course, it's great to teach little girls that they can rule the world, but now that's seemingly the only thing women can be anymore if they want to be feminist and acceptable by modern standards. In effect, we've traded one closed-off box to put female characters in for another one. Women don't have to only be housewives and princesses, but they don't have to be leaders either. Feminism means the freedom for women to be whatever they choose to be, framing the desire for love, having children, and a happy family as a patriarchal indoctrination has this.
I don't think it's an Intel video. I think it's whenever you have one company or one movie that wants to do this or wants to portray this particular they want to portray women in this particular fashion, that's fine, right? It's always gonna be fine because we've had it in the past, right? It's whenever there's a forced high density that's the problem, because the audience, the people, society notices, and it's very off-putting because they're all doing it at once, and they're all jumping at it, and it makes people combative of it. That's what happens. It's that people are going to be naturally combative of such a high density change in such a short amount of time, and you can't really blame them for it either. It's just how it goes. Like.
Same silencing and dehumanizing effect as any other constraint society puts on women. But that's exactly what Snow White will be about. And if Rachel Zegler's interviews on the film are to be believed, Snow White won't be falling for a prince or even thinking about love or other people at all.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Instead, she reduced the prince's role in the story to being a stalker.
The leader?
His only role in the remake will be as a laughable example of a pathetic weak man who Snow White pushes aside to pursue what's really important. Or he's just cut out entirely, never even mentioned, and never in the film to begin with. I mean, in the original, he's an essential part of the story. The movie's arcs around this, but Disney's already shown their own disregard for the source material. It isn't surprising that Zegler's barely seen the film, but it begs the question, if she hates the fairy tale and the original so much, why is she even starring in Snow White in the first place?
That's what I said.
Well, of course, we all know the real reason for this.
The money?
It's the same reason Disney's making the film in the first place.
Money's.
By pandering to this caricature of feminism, they're hoping they can cover up the bad writing and the many flaws in the premise itself, that the politically correct masses will gobble it up and use it as an example of what modern women should aspire to be. But all the virtue signaling in the world can't cover up the fact that barely anyone even wants this. The movie's written and directed by a man. The audience is a mix of men and women, and at the end of the day, Disney has.
Chat, why does all of a sudden, chat, guys, I can't tell me if you want to, okay, this is my take, okay? Why does all of a sudden everybody in the world has this major drive into wanting to tell women what they should be, right? All the fucking time. Why don't they just go case by case individual and say, yo, dude, you can be whatever the fuck you want to be. You want to be a fucking housewife and do the fucking tasks and chill out and raise children? You go and do that. Well, you want to have children and stay at home or want to get a job or be a leader? You do that, dude. But why is it everything is like super hard forced? Do you have to be independent, world leader, world dominating, clapping dumbass men to the ground? Like, yo, dude, how about they can do whatever they want? That's the whole point of it, is that they can be both. Like, I don't get it.
Has nothing to do with feminism at all. And you see, the thing is, Disney's audience don't want this corporate brand of half-baked pseudo-feminism that...
Because whenever you pit one against another, like they have to win over another, you're creating a hostile environment where there's a winner and a loser. Stop that shit. We can both win, dude. Both men and women can both win and coexist. You don't have to fucking win over one another. Chat, I know a lot of times, sorry about that, chat, this is gonna be unhinged. It's a little bit the same thing with like sometimes, like racism. Oh, dude, well, it's more like this. We're like, fuck it, dude, we're gonna be racist on the other side. It's gonna rebalance. Dude, how about we just do better and we just don't be racist overall, right? You don't have to be fucking, you don't have to fucking slime on your side because there was something on your side. Dude, how about we just do better? That's it.
Disney's trying to sell down everyone's throats. I mean,
Am
when
I
you compare
crazy?
Disney's many failed attempts at this compared to the Barbie movie, it becomes crystal clear at what people really want to see. The movie's just setting itself up to be just one more in a long line of overly sanitized Disney flops. And defenders of Disney's approach might put the onus on the audience, calling out critics of their films for being anti-inclusive or simply not respecting stories.
Disney face backlash over LGBTQ. Is this written properly? It's just pure nonsense.
Calling out critics of their films for being anti-inclusive or simply not respecting stories told from the female perspective. However, Barbie's success is evidence that this notion is simply not true at all. It's blown away every recent live-action Disney project out of the water, and is currently on track to become one of the highest-grossing films of all time, showing us that films that are inclusive aren't always complete flops, but woke, virtue-signaling, boring, empty movies are hated universally in the public. And yet for years, Disney has continuously...
Whether the movie is a narrative or not, okay? The movie can still be appreciated regardless of your interaction with the narrative and story. Okay? Barbie's movie can still be enjoyed regardless of what you think of the message, okay? Such as a lot of good movies, okay? You can take it if you want to, you can live it if you want to. Still a good movie. That's it. Done.
He pumped out these sorts of movies, producing flop after flop, sequels and remakes that all tell the same story, hijacking everyone's childhood classics.
Also, Ryan Gosling is hot as fuck.
Box office records, and has already grossed over $1 billion worldwide, making it clear that the world does have some capacity to respond well to some female-driven narratives when the script is written well, and its creators have respect for the source material while at the same time not taking themselves too seriously.
True.
Because you see, Disney isn't just failing because the movies are about women, it's because they're terribly written films, given the same constant gold narrative that's as stale as it can come. Whereas Barbie is a perfect example of a blockbuster feminist story that can be universally related to. It's enjoyed because its message and main character, despite being in Barbie land, are very much somehow grounded in reality. Margot Robbie's Barbie isn't an exceptional leader or an especially gifted or talented individual. She's one of many Barbies in her little world, with most of these other Barbies being more tangibly impressive, having more specialized skills than Margot Robbie does. And when she's met with unexpected conflict, she's just as ill-prepared as many a person would be. The odds seem instantly stacked against her, and she quickly becomes a fish out of the water. And the uphill nature of Barbie's struggle, and her changing throughout the movie as a result of what she's experiencing, is what makes it a compelling story. And despite her flawless appearance at the start of the movie, we quickly find out that she's just as flawed and vulnerable as everyone else is. And yet Disney's female...
Why is it interpolated?
We quickly find out that she's just as flawed and vulnerable as everyone else is. And yet Disney's female-driven blockbusters seem averse to writing their protagonists this way.
It is.
Out of fear that they will be criticized as anti-feminist. However, it's clear that when you...
Guys, it's interpolated to 60 frames from 24, is it not? It's why it's all weird and fluid.
Take a look at male-driven movies, just how flawed this logic truly is. Not every male protagonist is John McClane, James Bond, or Sherlock Holmes. Sometimes the most compelling protagonists aren't these great men we dream to be. Sometimes they're the characters who are regular, seemingly unspecial people, who when faced with conflict become great, going through a hero's journey. So not every female character...
Yeah, and you know what, dude? And a lot of times with these characters, even though they become great in a certain way, they're flawed and they're also terrible in another way, right? And they end up winning even though they're losing the whole time. That's how I feel about this character entirely, is that this guy, even though he wins at the end, or he's kind of winning, he's always underhand the whole time, right? Which I think gives a lot of depth to the character.
Faced with conflict,
but I think that's kind of rare.
Going through a hero's journey. So not every female character needs to be a beacon of unwavering ruthlessness or bravery to be interesting or feminist. They just have to be someone a woman watching can see themselves in. And the other key element to Barbie's success is its creativity. The movie is uniquely designed. The cinematography draws you in. The set designs and creativity is engaging.
That was really well done.
And the movie, while being far from perfect, with a very questionable narrative, is still entertaining to almost everyone. There's a reason it grossed over $1 billion in the box office. Because the Barbie movie took some needed risks. The jokes are surprising, the existential themes are at the forefront of the movie, and the filmmakers are unafraid to make a viewer uncomfortable at times. However, when you take a look at Disney's recent movies, they're so...
I also really enjoyed how they transformed the beach joke, right, which was really funny at first, into almost a lesson and a consistent thing throughout the movie that has a strong message. I think it's a really good transition for the joke.
Unwilling to take any risks, so scared to accidentally offend any particular group, that the movies end up saying nothing, and in turn, they appeal to no one. The stories are just completely sanitized.
Dude, come on, man. I'm gonna eat, man.
Men, of course, never want to see these movies. And perhaps the strangest part is that the box office numbers reflect all of this, with nearly all of their live-action remakes raking in just a fraction of what they could have, considering the A-list cast and the popularity of the IPs. So when will Disney finally learn from this? Not this time, apparently. A lot of the outrage around Snow White has been about their choices surrounding the 7 dwarfs. It's really just a lose-lose scenario. And yet another reason they shouldn't even make this film in the first place. You see, in the original story, they're a collection of named stereotypes, while also being dwarves on top of that. They laid the groundwork for decades of stupid jokes and prejudice, so it's inevitable that they be changed in some way, but Disney's original plan seems to have been to keep them pretty much the same. An earlier remake called Snow White and the Huntsman kept them as dwarves, but didn't actually hire any dwarf actors and just superimposed other actors' faces onto smaller bodies. However, Disney were quick to change their tune when Peter Dinklage made a statement rightfully calling them out as backwards, as it's ridiculous to preach diversity because you've hired a Latino actor for the main part, and yet you keep the disabled stereotypes in the film. So they did a 180, turning the dwarfs into nondescript magical creatures, only one of which is actually a dwarf now, which obviously isn't a good decision either.
Yo, so much for inclusivity, dude. Guys, remember the big controversy around, like, I think there's a character being trans at one point, and the actor not being trans was like, oh my god, dude, why not just get a trans person, dude, so that they could actually fit the role and be inclusive? Okay, well now you have actual dwarves, and no dwarves are playing them. How is that inclusive? What the fuck?
May avoid the stereotype accusations, but it's all so far removed from the actual fairy tale that it's barely even Snow White anymore. With no prince, only one dwarf, and a power-hungry Snow White, unconcerned with any true love, hating men and the patriarchy, it's a wonder why they're sticking with the name and not...
Because people, in my opinion, in a lot of ways, so many times, they pick and choose what needs to be inclusive, and it has nothing to do with the inclusivity, it's about perception, and that's the problem.
Not just making an entirely new film. The decision also means that Disney will be hiring way less dwarf actors, who already have trouble finding work that isn't demeaning. This all comes at the same time as Hugh Grant playing the role of an Oompa Loompa in another Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake. At the end of the day though, they couldn't have cast real dwarfs in the movie, as long as they actually had good writing. If they humanized the characters rather than using them as pawns in a game of identity politics, it could work. But knowing what we know about the rest of the movie, this will never happen. And we can't forget that this is all a publicity stunt for Disney anyway. They don't care about actually representing minority communities or standing up against prejudice. If they did, they wouldn't censor their own movies when they're trying to sell them to more repressive countries. One scene from Avengers Endgame, where a man just talks about going on a date with another man, was entirely cut from the Russian release. The same thing happened in the Disney Pixar film Onward, when it released in 2020. A same-sex kiss scene was edited out of Marvel's Eternals for some Middle Eastern countries, and China's probably one of the most demanding countries for censorship, and Disney's very happy to play along. A huge amount of their movies would have been even bigger flops.
Oh my god, dude. Not a guy going on a date with another guy. I cannot have this, dude. I am going to go in full hysteria.
If it weren't for the Chinese market, they changed the Tibetan character to our white one for Doctor Strange, or so that they could release. A Simpsons episode that included a joke about Tiananmen Square mysteriously disappeared from Hong Kong's Disney Plus.
Yeah, Jack Lennon says, shut up, pussy. Bro, trying to call me pussy, which people usually say. you're a pussy if you're scared, or you're a little bitch. You're scared of two guys kissing or going on a date. That's insane.
Because Disney only
I mean, bro, look at you.
killing all of their ability to make good movies.
You close your eyes when it happens.
So maybe after the Snow White failure, they'll finally learn, but probably not.
North Korea is the only country in the...
Well, sorry, guys. I breathed sugar. Chat, do you know how I feel sometimes, chat? When you're breathing sugar, that is, guys, it feels like you're dying. Guys, that's like death. No, you don't, chat, you don't, no. You don't swallow sugar. You have a candy.
Since you like conspiracy theories videos, here is a really good one you can react to. Link.
Sure, I'll watch it. Guys, when you inhale sugar and it burns and you can't breathe.
Are you the Oklahoma City bomber?
Yo, this is X.
Is it also good?
Portland, Oregon, the city where every drug is legal. Drug addiction, homelessness, crime. Perhaps a few side effects of decriminalizing every drug. Or so I think. Many believe this city is a government experiment gone wrong. But how did this all happen and what can be done to fix it? This city is a government experiment gone wrong.
It's a complicated topic. I recommend also watching those insider documentaries of how drug cartels and crime works, and you'll have a differing perspective of how to possibly solve the issues.
Yeah. I think a massive problem is people cutting the drugs and adulterants, right? There used to be a time where people had something online that you could, like the black market, people would buy drugs on there. And you want to know something? Here's a really molten take that nobody's ready for, in my opinion. Yes, it's bad, it's black market, it's drugs online. At the same time, it's like user review based overall. So at the end of the day, yes, people are buying drugs, but at least there's some sort of expectation and there's some sort of quality control based on literally users. So like, you're not getting people that are gonna fucking die because they got some random shit and some random adulterants. So it's kind of difficult to, yeah, I don't know.
How did this all happen and what can be done to fix it? So I met up with Kevin, a social worker born and raised in Portland whose life mission is to save this city.
There's no quality control, it's been in the garage. I don't think you understand how that works. See, this is very uneducated. And since 99% of people in chat will not know about this whole Silk Road shit way back in the days, it's user-based reviews, man. People that make a bad product will get bad reviews and people won't buy their shit, right? If people make a really good high-quality product, people use it, and then they give it good reviews, and it's like, dude, does that make sense or not? Bro, I'm not kidding.
Before it's too late.
I'm born and raised Portland, Oregon. I've worked in social services a couple decades now, primarily working with the homeless. I have watched as this has grown into a legitimate crisis. I believe we can solve this with just applying a little bit of common sense, a little effort, and a lot of passion. Those are 2 fentanyl users right there. We're already in kind of the heart of it. In this 1 block radius, there's at least 50 camps. You're gonna see a lot of overdoses out here. I carry Narcan, which is an opioid blocker. Because of Measure 110, this decriminalized all drug use. It's now just an open air drug scene. Well, smash and grabs are very common in Portland. We have a lawlessness city now. We have cops that can't even pursue. They're not even really allowed to because it's not serious enough. And we're gonna walk past the Chinese garden here to an encampment. In any major encampment, there's a mayor, which is a homeless person who's in charge of the encampment. I'm gonna introduce you to one of the mayors. Be a little discreet with the camera until we say hi. So I don't know these two. Keep that in mind.
Put it down. Put it down.
Oh, what a father.
Kevin?
I want to see if Jamie.
What?
Hey guys, on right now.
All right, well then we walk away. Well, I've been here longer than you, brother. Hey, man, I'm Kevin.
Oh, Kevin is bold right now.
JB.
JB don't live here.
Oh, did he move?
Neither does K9. Now get on.
Where's K9?
Jesus, guy.
Let's go. You are the boldest man I've ever met in my life. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest.
I mean,
So what it appears...
chat. Something that looks dangerous, okay, in my opinion, is way less dangerous than somebody who looks like they're tweaking, they're confused, they're unpredictable. That's the real scary part. Dude, whenever you're dealing with these situations overall, somebody who's unpredictable is the scariest, most dangerous person out there. Not the people who look dangerous and quite possibly are dangerous, because it's much more manageable than the other tweakers.
Here is that we have a leadership change, and I noticed that right away because I didn't recognize them.
The new mayor's been reelected.
Either he's been reelected or he just took the office. You know.
What was the likelihood of him using physical violence to beat her up?
Yeah, I'd say there was a high likelihood.
Yeah.
He did have his knife out, and luckily we got away. Yeah, I've been here multiple times the last couple years, and I've built a really strong rapport with these people. And I've only been gone here for a week. I know of a homeless camp that's about 1.5 miles from here. And a guy has shotguns in the trees where if you step the wrong place, it's going to shoot you.
What?
This was the moment I realized Kevin is insane. How many other times have you been assaulted?
I've been stabbed twice.
Shotgun traps from Rust.
Multiple times. I've had needles shoved into my back, hypodermic needles, so I had to get tested for HIV. Had a guy try to cut my head off with a machete last year. He chased me full speed. And the only reason I lived is because I dove last second as he swung. And after we called the police and he was arrested, he said, I was trying to kill you because I wanted to be murdered by the police. So I got hit once. He was upset I was filming him. The reason why I was filming him is because he was committing a crime, right? Punched me again, knocked me to the ground, got hit in the head, got kicked, and then he walked away.
Oh my god, this video's so weird. What is this fucking NPC, dude? Fuck, man.
Voices,
fucking PvP.
Say, I need to kill Tyler.
After hearing how many times Kevin's nearly been killed out here doing this, we went downtown to talk to some drug addicts to figure out how this all happened. So what's going on here? Is this fentanyl use?
Oh, I'm gonna go talk with him really quick.
This looks like someone stripping potentially.
Hey, I'm with my friends. I was wondering if you would want to talk to him for a second for $5. Is this something you would want to do, dear? No? Okay. So this is, you know, she is severely mentally ill. She's holding a fentanyl pipe, and as you see, her pants are completely down.
Oh, I see. I did not notice that.
And, you know, she really is someone who needs serious mental health treatment, and she's not getting it out here. So fentanyl has completely replaced almost all other drugs. It got really popular the last couple of years. Started, we think in Philadelphia.
Origin point is Philadelphia, Kensington, where we went.
Oh my god, dude. Fucking lion scanner.
Fetty really started there. Because he used needles.
So what's going on here?
He seems to be symptomatic, so I'll go say hi to him and see if I can offer him a cigarette. Right?
These two people as well seem to be tripping fentanyl or what?
Yeah, and right in front of, you know, a bar and grill. A lot of businesses around here are closed down because of the crime, because of the drug use. This is my friend Tyler.
How you doing?
I see you're holding a fentanyl straw. Do you want to share with me when you started using fentanyl? Almost everybody on the streets now are using fentanyl.
Are they really?
Yeah.
How long you been out here?
A while. I don't remember the exact date of how long.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you, is anybody out here helping you get off the streets?
Nope.
Take care of yourself, man.
How you doing, sir? So you're doing fentanyl right now, yeah?
I was loading some speed.
Do you do any other drugs besides speed?
Yeah, I mean, I do drugs occasionally.
Okay. What are we talking here? Fentanyl?
Mushrooms, LSD. I like MDMA, MDA, 2CB, 2CB.
MDA.
2CI,
2CE.
Drugs, yeah.
People out here approaching you and offering
Classic.
help, you know, like outreach workers.
So you feel like no one's really giving you help out here?
When you're homeless, dude, you have to like have a house to get
I know I'm days of joy, I know.
You can't do it the other way around. Be able to shower before work. You have to know that you're gonna be able to sleep and get up at that time.
Are you afraid to be out here at night?
I mean, sometimes like a week ago, I was sleeping in my sleeping bag, and I set up someone yelling at me, and he started socking me in the face.
2CE, there's like 8 of them.
Hospital, and they like kicked me out, and I had an episode where I couldn't even get up at the hospital, and they're just like, bye. I felt very underwhelmed and underappreciated.
People out here.
He's breathing unnaturally. You okay, brother? You okay?
Hey, Stu, you good?
You okay, bro? Okay.
Yeah,
He's falling asleep.
he deep breathes.
Okay.
And like seriously,
Yeah.
these cold nights that we've had, if people weren't high out here, they'd die from freezing.
Well, thank you for your time, Johnny. Appreciate it. The situation for these homeless seemed brutal, but how did Portland get to this point? As we walked around the corner, I saw another guy injecting a needle into his arm.
Jay,
My name's Tyler, Jay. Good to meet you. Jay, what are you shooting up here? Xylazine?
No.
No?
Good old-fashioned white meth.
Got it.
How long have you been out here? How long have you been homeless in Portland?
I've been homeless since 96.
So 1996.
Jay,
This is
how
wild,
dangerous
bro.
Is it out here on these streets?
It's gotten a lot worse. Just in the last year, I've seen 3 different shootings where somebody's been shot and killed.
Hey, brother.
How you guys doing?
Number one thing homeless people need.
You think it's housing?
There's 17,000 ghost houses in this city.
And most are telling us that no one's out here.
You know what, though?
approaching.
All right, man. Here's another dog shit take from me, okay? Okay. At least, saving grace is that a lot of these drugs that some of these guys consume are very physically bad and whatever. But at least a lot of them aren't neurotoxic or too neurotoxic, right? So they don't talk like they have like fucking CTE and they're fucking like brain dead, right? Which is what a lot of things happens with a bunch of other products. They're neurotoxic and they fuck their brain up. At least some of these aren't very much. Why is this chat saying fucking question mark, dude? Dude. A lot of them, they still speak normally and shit like.
Stealing everybody's stuff.
You have people still.
Bro, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong about this.
They are the worst. Rapid response goes into people's camps, gives them 72 hours to get out, and if they're not out in that 72 hours, they take everything they own and they got to start over again. There shouldn't be anybody homeless right now.
Yeah.
$3.2 billion.
Nope, I was right.
That money, I bought all those houses and gave it every person that needed a home.
Once you give them the home, what happens next with the drug price?
That's up to them. It's going to take at least 5 years for them to get adjusted.
Okay, so what if they don't pay their bills and they fall further into addiction and use the homes or destroy it?
Hello,
That's the
everyone.
risk with dealing with humans.
I'm an addict.
Yeah.
I've been out here 48 years homeless off and on.
While the homeless here clearly felt left behind by the city, what led to so many of them ending up on the streets in the first place? Have a great day. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, hey, brother. Does your family know you're here? No? Okay. How old are you? You're 22? Okay.
Well, this guy's been bugging. 22.
You recovered from this. You know this, right? You know how to get into a shelter? Just try to go into a shelter tonight and see how it works. Will
Oh
you?
my god, dude.
Please?
With a 22-year-old kid on the streets, barely able to speak anymore, common sense would argue drugs have an obvious and major role in this.
The reason why they suck so much is that even though some people not recognize potential, right? At 22, you have your entire life in front of you. You're barely even getting started. You're like at the beginning of the start, in my opinion, right? So like you save somebody's life like that and you make him recover, you're causing like literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, because everybody always talks about money. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars of value for him and society. So it's like, it's worth a try, you know? Like I think people should.
Barely able to speak anymore. Common sense would argue drugs have an obvious and major role in this homelessness crisis. But what is the city doing to help this? So Kevin, you said the shelters, so there are places these people could go to?
The shelters, you get stolen from more in the shelters than you do out here. You can live in a tent in a park, or you can go to a shelter where there's 91 bunk beds and one large room with no air conditioning, where people are coughing.
A lot of people, you say, oh, dude, they don't want help because they've already given up on themselves. When people get this, it's very important. A lot of these people, they give up on themselves entirely. Even though they would get help, even if it's from them, they won't take it because they're not mentally allowing themselves to, right? And that's not even like, you can blame them as much as you want to, right? But they give you extra steps to be made so that they take the helping hand and they get there, dude. And sometimes it takes a bit more effort and more care, but nobody gives a fuck.
All night. There's some people living right under here, and I just want to introduce you to them if they're still here. So it is
like it's been a lot of times, like especially in like depression and shit like that. A lot of people they don't wash, they don't take care of themselves, they don't take care of the trash around them. Like me, I get it, but I'm not depressed. They literally give up on themselves entirely. You know, they give up, dude. They need extra help, extra care. That sucks. That sucks, man. Because then it's like you're depending on other people to come in and clutch up, because you can't clutch up for yourself. At that point, you're disabled.
Immediately, like.
I know.
Hey there, how you doing, man? I noticed you have a suitcase. Is that what you used to carry all your things? And you move from place to place every night?
Yeah, it's just a blanket, some cans.
How easy is it to get your hands on fentanyl out here?
Oh, crazy.
And you know what this is, of course.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to use one of these on yourself or someone else, or?
Somebody's had to use it on me like 5 times.
How many times have you tried to quit?
No, I need to be brutally honest with you. This isn't gonna last. You're not gonna last another year or two out here, brother.
I'm not.
You'll be dead in a year if you don't stop. You know this, right? Please. Would you go into a shelter, or go into treatment, or detox?
I go to shelters.
And there's a shelter right here.
I know where it is.
Okay, right on.
So we see a lot of people in wheelchairs with the unable to walk that are stuck out here homeless.
Okay.
And they're of course the ones being victimized more than.
I'll thought that, dude, I thought that these guys they're physically addicted in a lot of ways, and it's like even if they do good for a little bit, it's so easy for them to fall back in it and just go right back to square one. It takes a second to go back to square one. Like the likeliness of it happening and the downfall from it is crazy, and it happens all the time. They can't get out of it.
Anybody. They're assaulted because they can't chase them, run away, any of that, and that's very common, sadly.
Kevin, what is this right here? Blanchett House of Hospitality?
Blanchett has been offering food
like
to
love,
the
yeah,
homeless for decades. Okay. Look, I'm all about helping a person meet their basic needs, but let me ask you this.
Yep.
If you feed a person 10 years in a row, have you done them any good? You got to teach a man to fish.
And out of nowhere, we heard this in the distance.
And I'm like, you know what? That's actually true. This is neglect. Yeah.
Let's go.
So that was a gunshot.
Okay, let's go.
So let's go.
So how often do you hear gunshots out here? Who just got blipped?
Well,
someone just got shot, you think?
I don't know, but that was a gunshot.
Okay, you're used to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you hear them.
It was pointed at us? Okay.
What?
It did actually come from the camp we were kicked out of an hour ago when the guy pulled a knife on us. You know, murders are common out here. I mean, one way to get away with a murder out here is to call it an overdose. This happened to one of my clients recently. Is they put 2 fentanyl pills in his drink, and he wasn't a user and died of an overdose. It was, you know, the fentanyl powder, and they put it in his drink. Actually, they did it sort of as a joke. He overdosed and died.
Yo, cameraman, Jesus, this guy.
60% chance that's not gonna happen.
You have Narcan in case I touch it or Pasha touches it or you touch it.
Yeah, I'm prepared.
But tell me about decriminalization of drug use in Portland.
Portland, or really the state of Oregon, decided to decriminalize drugs was because some had argued that we shouldn't make drug use punitive and that we need to offer treatment. And that sounds great.
But Portland took inspiration from places like Portugal and the Netherlands, places that successfully decriminalized drugs. But the big difference between them and Portland is that they had rehabilitation systems in place that they proved to work before they did it.
Imagine implementing a fucking system in the fucking United States of all places that is going to emulate the results of a place in Europe, and I can't even begin it.
Recovery, detox, treatment, all that stuff that they promised really isn't happening. A person who's using drugs oftentimes have gone through a trauma, and so what they lack is rational thinking, and so people who already make poor choices are unable to really stop using anyway, but now you've given them the freedom to use as much as they want.
Sure.
And that's terrifying.
But why did the people of Portland vote for this? So we went to Fentanyl Fountain to ask the locals their opinion on the decriminalization of drugs. This is the fountain. Fentanyl Fountain?
This guy says, thank you, man. So then, implement those social support systems. Yeah, that's right. That is definitely something that has been a big focus in the recent years from the U.S. government. They love that. They surely
the other day of the week,
they work really hard on that.
Does it get worse throughout the week?
Yeah, they come here Friday night and just sweep everybody and clean
Utopia.
it up. Yeah, and then the vendors come here and set up shop.
How long have you been out here in Portland?
Almost 20 years.
You were here before and after decriminalization?
I was, and it got progressively worse for a number of years, but they're definitely cutting the meth with fentanyl, because there'd be people running around that were really happy in the morning, just losing their shit in the afternoon.
How does this place change after today?
There are quite a lot of wandering people who don't have homes that do spend a lot of time here.
Definitely have seen a lot of downtown businesses really struggling, not necessarily with the legalization of drugs, but just people camping in their doorway.
Have you been in Portland for many years?
My whole life.
Okay, got it. So you've seen Portland before decriminalization and after?
Sure.
Have you seen any impact on downtown or?
Say it, good.
I hope you guys have an awesome day.
Oh, okay. You too. Okay, we're noticing some general.
If I speak,
well, there is because about 60% of the people voted for this measure. They're not going to change their opinion.
Chat. She said it. If I speak, I think the way I saw what's happening, I think she's displeased with the results and what's happening, and she doesn't want to give a bad thing on camera because nobody's ready to hear the truth. Everybody wants to live in mental utopias and whatever the fuck, and nobody wants to see for what it is.
I feel like the decriminalization of drugs turned into the decriminalization of crime. You know, when you need help, the police don't show up.
Do you support the decriminalization of drugs here?
Yeah, of course I do, because it's no longer like...
Our jails aren't filling up with junkies.
Okay.
Yeah. Drugs aren't bad, they're just preferred for the people that can properly use them.
Do you use drugs harder than out here?
Yeah, dude. Yes. Just swap the fucking funding to prisons, to cemeteries instead, dude. Fuck it, man. Let's just fucking let them die and let them fucking get absolutely clapped on. And Jesus Christ, man.
I
This
take
so
breaks.
bad.
Okay.
Yeah, not everyone can do that. Out here, I mean, people are still dying. I died last week.
So you got hit with a Narcan, or?
Yes.
It doesn't work very well? Said it didn't work.
I had to have injectable.
Okay. And you almost died?
I did die.
Oh, you died and you were brought back. Does that scare you, or does it lead you to be like, damn, I should stop using, or is it just so hard to the withdrawal syndromes or whatnot?
All three.
Yeah, we've both died a couple times. That's why we've chosen not to mess with fentanyl anymore.
Sure. Hi there.
My name's Catherine. I'm currently unhoused because my wallet, ID, and phone were stolen a few months ago. It is impossible to get an ID when you are homeless. I want to work a job. I want to live inside. I was thrown out of my parents' house. I didn't use. They kicked me out for being queer and openly coming out to them. And then I had one argument with her. I told her to F off. The next day, she bought me a Greyhound ticket, sent me here. I have nothing. It's been 3 months since then. I was reported missing by someone on my TikTok account, not by them. They know where I am. They sent me here to be homeless, to die on the streets because I'm queer. I worked at a homeless shelter and came out as a she, they, non-binary, gender-fluid individual. I told them she, they. It's no longer she, her, she, they. And then I was fired.
There were a lot of mixed opinions on the legalization of drugs, but the impact on downtown Portland was unavoidable.
Baby!
How you guys doing?
Word!
All right.
While everyone else was busy getting high,
Shut
Kevin
up.
wanted
Oh
to
my
show
God.
me another camp where someone tried to kill him.
Here a few weeks ago, and there was
Oh
a
my
very
God,
unhappy
dude.
person who tried to physically assault us, who was living here. So that's why I was just saying be a little mindful of that.
So look at that. You see those 2 propane tanks?
Oh yeah, and that's what causes the tent fires.
What?
And the explosions.
Hi there. Good to meet you.
Just want to learn more
Yo,
about this crime.
yo, this editor needs to fucking, yo, this guy's editing it is, I'm not gonna say anything, dude.
It causes the tent fires.
Got it.
And the explosions.
Hi there. Good to meet you.
Just want to learn more about this crisis and kind of where we went wrong.
There's a lot of different steps to that
Okay.
issue.
Pretty complex.
Yeah, like you know, every other person that walks by is asking for Fetty or whatever.
Got it.
Or blues.
Do you feel safe out here?
Lately, not so much anymore.
Okay. And why is that?
There's stories about violence against women.
Full assault and that sort of thing, or?
Well, not just that, like murder, actual murder.
Oh, murder, okay. If we were to go out to where we went earlier today, at night, what would we hear, what would we see?
You're going to hear screams, usually sexually assaulted.
Okay.
You know, I interviewed a homeless guy just a couple days ago. It says, I hear blood-curdling screams every night, and the most terrifying thing is when the screams abruptly stop. There is a known serial rapist that has been going to 10 to 10 at night, raping as many women as he can. I've interviewed 5 different women who have been raped by the same person in the same area.
And the police haven't done anything about it?
Well, none of the women have pressed charges because they're scared he will kill them. His nickname is the Viper.
Life seemed harsh and dangerous for the homeless people in downtown Portland. But without reliable housing to go back to, reporting certain criminals means they'll have to return back to camps to face those who assaulted them in the first place. But what about the homeless people who have moved to the outskirts of Portland?
What's going on here?
Well, this is the infamous long line of RVs. Sure, we're going to be able to count at least 100 of them.
Yep. Look at all these RVs.
Where are the services to help these people? The fact that there's families out here stuck in RVs in the middle of summer is just really unacceptable.
As we drove past hundreds of RVs with homeless families living in cars, I realized that homeless people were living anywhere here to survive.
There was a couple families living in these tunnels that kind of go underground Portland.
Okay, but even among the homeless, hierarchies, status, and power have developed in unexpected ways.
All right, we've made it.
Right across the way, these are $1 million condos. It's where the homeless live, and they have the identical view. Really incredible architecture. Anybody home?
What city is Portland? Yeah.
Hello? Anybody home? Hello?
So no one's home.
Probably
Well,
not.
this is like you get a quest from here or some shit.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to invade their space too much.
There's like a machete and an axe right there. All right, let's get out of here. And they've kind of finessed the system by not buying $1 million property over here.
No, yes.
You know, building one instead.
Like, oh my God.
So this is literally tens of thousands of pieces of driftwood, and someone has tunneled in, and there's a camp inside of here.
Whoa, that's crazy. And they have boats right here to go on the water and explore.
This would be like a 600-foot, one-bedroom apartment.
So how many people do you think live in these communities with max capacity?
I believe about 15.
15. So this is truly the upper elite, the Bill Gates of the homeless out here. Full-on mega mansion, bike in there, mayor presumably of this community.
And what makes this extra special is he's the only one with a pier.
Oh, that's beautiful. This place right here, pristine, beautiful,
Shit.
and then a nice access point to a nice little ocean view.
The detail, look at the
This
bricks.
guy's nice.
Oh my God, you're right.
What?
This is crazy. It's very creative what they've done out here. Sure.
These are humans. It doesn't matter who you voted for. Can't we all work together?
Holy fuck, scared the shit out of me, dude.
I'd say if you want real change, vote differently. Vote for the candidates, vote for the people with common sense ideas, the ones actually make a difference.
So how could anyone watching help you on your mission?
Well, I have a Twitter page, Kevin V. Dahlgren, or just type Kevin Dahlgren in homeless and you're gonna find me. And then truthonthestreets.org is my website. And of course, I have a YouTube channel called Truth on the Streets.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, brother,
I
appreciate
don't even know
it.
how that works though, the whole voting thing. I feel like, don't people get bought out regardless with like campaign funds and shit? So even they're for something to get, I mean, dude.
Kevin is my favorite dude ever and is helping make a real change. Can we help him get to 100,000 subs and help him save the city of Portland? Thanks, guys. Love you all.
It's tough. I don't know. Yo, what's up, bruh? Yo, you want to finish my sentence or what?
Yeah, I just ate my food as well. I was watching that shit.
Yeah, I was enjoying Tyler Oliveira video. This was a Los Angeles. Watch this next time.
Show the channel because your camera's blocking it.
Okay. Look, we watched
This is
Investigate to see where every drug is legal from Portland from Tyler. I want to rewatch this because I think this is an important video.
Lexington, Philadelphia, the center of America's drug epidemic, overrun with a drug known as tranq, a mixture of horse tranquilizer and fentanyl that's turning people there into real-life zombies. And with the help of my local contact, Recombull, we're gonna figure out how this happened, what can be done to fix it, and hopefully not get shot in the process.
Wow. Yeah, that was a kid.
What's the likelihood of getting shot out here?
Oh my God!
So you always stay strapped.
Dude! Fuck, man. Oh my God, dude. The fucking... That's so sad, dude. I just moved in too, man. It went on the floor, dude. Sorry, chat, guys, listen. Oh no. Chat, if I don't at least sponge it, it's gonna crystallize the fucking sugar into the carpet and it's gonna get really bad. I have to at least, oh, fuck, I need to get water. Chat, I have to denature the sugar. Little trick and tips. What you want to do when you drop something like has sugar like that, you want to denature it. With water and shit, and then pick it up. Otherwise, it's really bad. A little bit of unpredicted garbage shit just happened.
People can't just walk from this street to that street without being murdered.
We're starting to get a sketchy area right now.
You see how it changed a little bit? You see?
Big change out of nowhere right
See
here.
what I'm saying?
Cops and a ton of night and day.
That fast, bro. Like in nice neighborhoods, boom, now it's murder. Yeah, let's park right here somewhere.
All right, we're hopping out. And then we met up with Rick and Bull's buddy, Hotshot Shakur, to give us a closer look at the city.
All right, so what's going on out here? Where are we at?
Yeah, we at Kensington and Clearfield. So this neighborhood right here, like during the pandemic, once when COVID first hit, like a lot of stores on this block got destroyed. Like you see the DTLR vandalized and burnt down.
Okay.
So the store owners, they moved.
Needle right there. Yeah, so I'm seeing needles. I've never seen a needle actually in my life, actually.
Yeah,
I've seen like 5 in the last 2 minutes.
Those common.
You see needles like this everywhere out here?
Yeah.
Yeah?
They come out and clean the whole neighborhood every day, every morning.
Got
and
it.
then they get back like this by nighttime.
So is it a real concern to actually step on one?
Yes. There's a possibility that a person can step on one every day. Yeah, some like soft shoe sneakers that don't got thick soles, yes.
Oh, hell
you can
no.
possibly step on one because they under cars, under bags, they everywhere.
All these orange caps are from needles.
Are from needles. Yes, we looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Just in this area.
That's wild. Yeah, where are they? Oh, so those are cops right there.
Locking somebody up.
Okay,
That's
that's
insane.
happening in real time.
I said during COVID, on K&A, we had active military from here to Aramingo, Port Richmond. They rioted down here bad. All the stores were ransacked.
And so we made our way to Needle Park, a park famous for the sheer quantity of needles there at any given time, where a lot of the homeless people hang out.
I'm just trying to watch my feet for needles, no joke. Needles in the juice box.
I used to come here to get on this computer, yeah.
And when did it get basically shut
I
down?
told you, 2 years ago. When COVID hit, it impacted this like a bomb.
How many homeless people do you think are out here?
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, like all the way 100.
Yeah.
There are more people down here that are stranded from different places in America than anywhere in America. Like people come here from all over, they drive here, and then they never leave.
So everyone comes out here to get drugs.
What? This is the hub.
Yeah. And you can shoot them up and cops don't do anything about it, right?
No, they fighting homicide. So the minor problem is them getting high. The main concern is overdoses. You get what I'm saying?
So people camp out here?
And then look, you get this is the library. Here, like,
what can you even ask the police to do though? Like, if you arrest them, people say, "Oh, dude, they're locking them up for doing drugs." And if you don't lock them up, it's dude. There's not much the fucking police itself can do. It's all about regulation, government, the way how they strategize it, how they assign funds and shit like that. It's way beyond the police's work.
Like, we're gonna
their
take
job
you
is not what you can do here, dude.
Oh, yeah.
So this is nothing.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you to the train station. It's crazy. You'll see one block that look clean, and then you go to the next block over, feces. You could die, you know what I'm saying, out of nowhere because there's so much going on. This was my best friend. I mean, we've been together, you know, as friends since I was approximately like 19 years old. I'm 31. So it's like, this is my brother. Like, I lost him to gun violence down here, and then I lost his cousin, who I met at the same time, to gun violence in probably approximately like 7 months.
How are people making money out here?
I mean, people make money out of everything. People sell clothes, people sell drugs, people sell t-shirts. Bro, down here is about survival of the fittest.
And as we walked to the train stop, Shakur told me about a new problem, 24/7 gambling.
So first these came right here, the smoke shops. They popped up in Philly heavy. You gotta go to like Wawa, a gas station. Now you do not have to do that anymore. Nor do you have to go to a casino to gamble. They're in every store. The machines, we actually about to walk past some, so you're gonna see the high velocity of them.
And as we walk there, you'll notice the insane amount of needles beneath our feet at all times.
Oh my God!
Keep in mind, these are all just from today's use.
And you'll see something like this. It say a convenience store. This is what we got now.
That's
they replace
fucked.
convenience stores with gambling. So the average person who got $10, $5, they can come in here, put their money in, bop, 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 win $30. The more you play, the more you win. You know the game. But this is where it's high drug. Like, why is this here?
Yeah.
Legitimately.
Sure.
Right across the whole wall.
Little casino machines. We're not in Vegas.
Gambling is an addiction. So no matter which way you turn, no matter what your addiction is, you don't have to leave here.
When people come here, get stuck.
They get stuck. Now look, get the ground. Every night, fires to stay warm.
Yeah, there's burners straight on the sidewalk here.
And then out of nowhere, this happened.
Wow.
Young boy burned out. He just rolled the window down and started shooting at the addicts.
Oh, you
What?
Yeah.
Just now. I missed that?
Yes. With a Nerf gun, a BB gun. It's so random. Like, that's how crazy this joint is. And that was a kid. That was a kid.
What the fuck?
That got me.
Freaked out by the real danger out here, we booked it towards the train station.
We about to walk through, y'all. So when they gotta come up the steps, this is what they gotta walk past. Like you see on the
Blood
side.
out here, needles.
When they come to get on the train, you see the train, it got needles all over
Blood
there.
on the ground right there.
Everything,
Yeah.
yes. And this is like, so say if a female was taking her child to school or coming from school or going to the hospital, to the doctors, what's up with you, bro? So look, in order to get on the train, this is what they gotta go through. So we're gonna take y'all up.
All right, let's do it.
Experience, what's up with you, bro?
How you doing? All right, going up.
What's up, Slime?
Oh my
This is
God.
stuff that they don't see. Because look, you see you got the guy right here?
Yeah.
He cleaning, they constantly have to clean all day.
Yeah. People are injecting even up here?
Yes, people come up here and they urinate, they defecate, and all types of stuff. Like coming down here, you see how many needles are down here? This is just throwaways. Now look, this about the needles. This bucket is for needles.
After seeing how locals travel on a daily basis out here, I wanted to know what it's like for business owners in this environment.
What's your name, man? Levi. How long you been out here?
15 years. After COVID, people just completely went berserk.
COVID affected Kensington totally different than it did the rest of the world. I'm talking about it was on fire. I seen people with chainsaws going in banks. It was the real life purge.
Like when it was COVID, a guy went and put a grenade.
Yeah, and blew it up.
Blew it up and he killed himself. Blew up in his face.
How many every ATM got hit?
You leave out of your house, you don't know when you're gonna come back. This is a dangerous business. We have AK-47, we have AR-15. You see this is state of the art.
Not filet fish. It's a mac poulet. It's a McChicken. And Canadian McChicken, you guys will never know what it is if you're American. You eat dog shit. McChicken in Canada is fucking insane.
Yeah, just a real katana. And then I have my AR-15. Like, you can call the devil, but you will not like him when you see him coming. Not too long ago, they found a woman in a luggage, right, sitting right there. The other day, I opened my store at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I opened the back door. There was a dead body, a guy who overdosed himself and killed himself. Crazy thing about it, the cops don't even care no more. They know they're dying, and they're still using the drugs. The only way to sweep and clean everything out is by sending the entire military.
Knowing how dangerous it is just to run a business out here, I needed to know how dangerous it is to live out here as a drug addict. Hi, what's your name?
Chrissy.
How long you been out here, Chrissy?
Probably about like 4 years.
How did you end up here?
Using drugs.
Plan on staying here for the foreseeable future?
Man, I say I'm not gonna do another winter every winter.
How do you get out of here?
Jesus.
It's hard. It's
Yeah?
really hard.
You use Trank?
Yeah.
Yeah, is it?
It's in all of them.
So everyone's using
pretty
Trank
much
out
now.
here?
Yeah.
Is the fentanyl in that as well?
Yeah. Yeah, so when it's just Trank, it hits you hard, you pass out, you wake up, you're sick as fuck.
Got it. So have you heard the term like zombie?
I nod out standing up, and
Really?
I like literally like go like this.
And do you get stuck there for hours on end? Like
For hours, yeah.
Oh my,
right?
oh my God, what the fuck?
And do you get stuck there for hours on end? Like
For hours.
Whoa. Chat. With most drugs, usually you're tripping, right? Bro, what do you mean is the point? What is the trip? You just pass out and you're just like, you feel bodily good?
Yeah.
That's a little dangerous,
it's
right?
crazy, yeah. Because of
I don't get it.
doing that stance for so long, or nodding, sitting up, I can't even lay flat on my back.
How many people you seen be stabbed?
You see it all over.
Like, I got stabbed.
We don't play dumb, bro. Bro, I'm asking what the trip is. Like, you guys are giving me like metaphorical shit, like escaping reality. Bro, no, I know how drugs work. Like, I'm not fucking stupid. Okay? I mean the actual effect of that particular drug, like, not the philosophical one, yo.
I won. Right here, man. This joint, I had got the pictures on my, remember when I put on my gram? I got into a mix and I treated him bad and he banged me out.
Would you like to share? What's your name?
Hold on, how are you?
Dana. How long you been out here, Dana?
2 years.
What's the biggest problem down here?
The stealing. Dealers jumping you for your money.
And how long you been using the product out here?
I've been using off and on for 20 years.
Do you see yourself getting out of here anytime soon?
That's why I've been in the past 2 days trying to get in treatment.
Yeah? How can this problem be fixed? How can people get safe housing? How can this place get cleaned up?
Look, military in.
Military?
Bring the military in.
Do you use any drugs? The xylazine?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is it very addictive?
The xylozine's more addictive than the Fetty is.
Yeah. Do you think if the government built, or the city built more treatment centers, it would be easier to get out of this addiction cycle and get out of here?
Easily. You see a lot of people like that.
I hope you stay safe. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Stay safe.
I think the main problem is that it's always somehow, of course, it's always about money. The way I understand this to be is that since it's higher potency for smaller amounts, and shit like that, they get it for cheaper, right? So it's condensed. It's like condensed intensity, right? For overall less money, right? Otherwise, they do other shit and all the other stuff that's like as euphoric or whatever. But instead, why bother when you can do this cheapest shit and you get clapped?
Out of here?
Easily. You see a lot of people like that.
I hope you stay safe. Thank you. Appreciate it. Stay safe. Thanks again. With the seemingly endless cycle of drug abuse and crime, I wondered where people here could actually get help if they wanted it. And as we were driving, we saw this. This is Shannon. What are you guys up to out here?
So every Saturday we provide food, clothes, and safer use supplies. So one of our main goals is to reduce overdoses in the community. We also provide syringes and access to clean pipes, wound care. We're 100% volunteer run.
The Everywhere Project.org. So if someone wants to have help, they can come out here.
Sign up to volunteer on our website. We also accept clothing donations, blanket donations, shoes donations.
And if someone wants to send like funds or donations.
Also, we have Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. Everything that is raised goes right back to the community.
This is
Okay. I'm honest with you. I never want to have a drug epidemic take because it's extremely complicated, and I don't think there's a lot of examples for like, does doing that actually help, or are you causing harm as a collateral? Are you feeling the problem, being part of the problem? I personally don't know. I've never seen the data behind it. I tried to look one time before. I'm saying it helps, and I get that. And I'm just talking about the data of. Don't say R word. Okay, I'm decently knowledgeable about this stuff, and I want to know more about the data because sometimes you help, and it's also not helping at the same time, right? So like, it's difficult. It's difficult to get it. What I'm trying to say is that if you're providing safer things for people not to OD, makes a lot, or safer things for people not to die from shit, right? Then you're lowering that type of death rate, right? But what about the maybe possible enabling effects of it, right? I don't know. I don't know it. I don't know, dude.
Over to the wing.
No, I want to give it to KD.
Over Yao. God, what?
Right to the left.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes gonna do. I mean, that's garbage. Okay. Well, I mean, dude.
High school and never give it back.
Well, this is garbage. Bro, is that his fucking breaker?
Hello, and welcome to the Los Pollos Hermanos family.
What is this?
My name is Gustavo, but you can call me Gus.
Nope. That's... Huh? No, I was right. Give me one more shot.
Hello, and welcome to the Los Pollos Hermanos family.
No, I'm good.
What the fuck are you talking about, man?
My name is Gustavo, but you can call me Gus.
Middington.
That nigga's tripping.
True. You know, chat? Yeah, this is how I feel. Chat, this is how I feel about Shake Shack. When I'm eating a burger and it's soft and then it's chewy in the fucking meat. It's like, why? Why does Shake Shack have so much chewy in their fucking burgers? I don't get it. Oh my god! But what are they doing?
Bitches, your motherfucking rando. I made a million bitch to do like the mimic. I come like a king, like the mix. Move on that brother, can get it for sure, for sure. She tell me, how can you feel this? Where around can I be gone to show?
Well, that was kind of hardcore, actually. I could do that. Alright. That's a good song. True. Dude, why are wings so expensive to a bit of pizza, dude? That's pizza spots.
Attention.
Attention movie lovers, if you see my popcorn flying in the air, please don't be startled. Thank you.
And the nigga come from behind me, out the staircase. Hung. It was what's supposed to happen.
Listen, nigga, I don't know what kind of gun that is.
No. Yo.
I don't know. That's a different kind of gun.
This TikToker is calling out an airline for discrimination because she couldn't fit through their aisles.
Okay, so? So what? What are you doing?
I'm just gonna leave this here.
What do you do? Well, what happens if you fat as fuck and you can't fit through somebody's door frame? You gonna sue them?
Got your money. Does that mean you want peanut butter?
Ew! Oh my god! That is fucking disgusting.
Does that mean you want peanut butter?
Jesus Christ.
Fucking hell, man. I'm finished.
Huh?
Jesus Christ. Fucking hell, man. I'm finished.
Our movie and didn't check my phone the entire time. And I just popped it open. 0 notifications. Someone DM me.
Holy shit. Chat, I always have noticed, and then chat, I'm not kidding, that actually happened. Because I always get random DMs, chat. Yes, I woke up and I had 0. And chat, I reset Discord and Twitter both because I thought it was a bug. Chat, I love that clip. It's so funny. Oh, come on. What? Okay, dude. Guys, I be sitting down and I cross my legs like crazy. Okay? I don't give a fuck. It doesn't. Guys, you know what makes you gay, chat? Being gay. That's it. Oh, what is he doing? Wait, what is he doing? Is he cooking him? Taking a bath. Oh, damn! Hey, you got me. I'm gay as fuck. Holy chat! You know what, chat? Guys, here's a hot take. You know what, chat? They deserve it. They deserve chat. Garbage men are like the core foundation of our fabric as a society, okay? And if nobody does their garbage properly, everybody's lazy and do dumb shit, fuck it. Fuck it, dude. If you get mad, you do this shit, you deserve it, man. I don't go fuck. If your garbage is broken one day, I don't care. He deserves to do. You know, fuck your mailbox. Mailbox. Fuck your shit. Yeah. You know what? I support this chat. Fuck this. Oh wow, what is that? Wait, is he like a whisper of the worms? It's like me.
I accidentally walked into a restaurant instead of my jail. I accidentally walked into a restaurant instead of my jail.
Hey, Dad, I was thinking about getting Tinder. What do you...
No, Tinder's for rookies. Use Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, true.
Search wedding dresses. It'll give you all the recently divorced females in the area, and you can filter by size.
Yo, what's up? Yo, tomorrow early stream, we're gonna stream some positive, exciting Orisa game. Jesus. What was I talking about? Was I talking about Orisa? Yo, what's up?
Jesus Christ.
What does this say?
Her?
Now what did I just do?
You missed?
I missed her. What does this say?
Her?
Now what did I just do?
You missed?
I missed her.
That was pretty good. I enjoyed that.
Oh my God.
What?
Please, please.
Stop running, nigga! Stop running!
What?
Oh my God, please help me, please.
I'm confused.
This is how they train bees to detect explosives. It all starts with the extraction.
It's a good video chat. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it. It's good.
Then they transfer the bees to a refrigerator to calm them down. Once they are calm, they place them in a container that distributes them and puts a special harness on them. Once in the harness, the bees are ready to start their training. First, they choose those who are able to get their tongue out of the proboscis after perceiving sugary water. This is known as the proboscis extension reflex, or PER. Then they proceed to release a vapor with distinctive characteristics of the explosives every 6 seconds, and they reward them with sugary water.
Like what, like nitrate or something?
3 seconds. Thus, they can associate the presence of explosives with nectar, reacting with the PER. They repeat the process for 4 rounds, and those who react correctly are ready to work. The detection of explosives is based on placing 6 bees in a cartridge that goes in a special...
It's a cartridge!
To see if they do PER when detecting the particles, or also use a series of infrared lights to determine that action. Then a screen projects the response. They load the bee cartridge into the special device, and it sucks a sample of air with possible explosive particles. The technician presses a button for the air to enter, and the bees analyze the sample while the infrared lights determine the response that will be projected on the screen. Something very interesting is that in each cartridge you can place a bee trained to respond to certain specific particles and thus determine several substances. The most impressive thing is that they can be trained in just hours, and for their maintenance they only require nectar or sugary water, being much cheaper than a dog. Something curious?
Chat, imagine, chat, if you can figure out what it is in the air or in around you that your brain is doing, like certain smells or whatever that your brain does. It has certain diseases, whatever, right? And every day you walk out of your house and you go into a small room every day, right, for like 10 seconds, and it scans you, and there's bees that smell and do all that shit, and it can tell what kind of diseases you have. I know what I'm talking about. fucking stupid. Guys, there are dogs that can smell when you have like a seizure or something like that, right? Because your brain does something that releases a certain smell. What if you had bees, chat, that knew? What if everything you do in your body has like small like scent differences or whatever, or like taste, and a bunch of things could figure it out? You could save lives. You could save people's lives, dude.
Yo, this is X. I'm
Hey, what's up, Felix? Hey, what's up, I'm Andrew.
Bing. Bum. Yeah, chat, I want to watch this. Chat, this is called The Darkest Moments in TV History 3. Chat, those are really pretty good. I like them a lot. I think they're pretty good. I think they're toxic. Yeah, we're still in content, but I always still content. I don't really give a fuck. Bro, you need to understand, dude, that out of all people, dude, you're like these people that complain about are like they're like new complainers, like people that we haven't seen before, you know? So like this thing is normalizing.
Pot friend.
And you know what? That's a good thing, because fuck it, I couldn't give a fuck. I like the videos, they're really good. And this is by Nick Crowley, which makes good videos. That's it. The following videos contain scenes that may disturb.
September 3rd, 2011. The Chilean news station TVN is hosting a live game show called KA7, or 7th Street, in which young adults compete in a series of challenges to avoid being eliminated, with the winner going on to eventually earn a cash prize. In Chile, the show was considered a success during its run, though it was never anything too out of the ordinary, especially as far as game shows go. And many familiar with it would probably be surprised to see it discussed in a video like this, as its family-friendly setup made it the last place you would ever expect to encounter a dark TV moment. And for most of its run, this was true, except for that fateful September day.
Huh? September day? Which one?
Por favor, quiero que paren la competencia. Quiero que paren la competencia, por favor. Nos acaba de llegar una información muy difícil de entregar.
Oh,
no habíamos
I have information that's difficult to say.
querido decir nada antes de chequear bien lo que está sucediendo porque compromete a personajes del canal.
As the participants were engaging in a heated competition, the host, Jean-Philippe, unexpectedly halts the program in the middle of a game with breaking news that a terrible, terrible accident had occurred, though not one on the show, but instead within the network itself.
Huh?
That morning, a team of workers from the TVN station, including famed presenters Felipe Camaroga and Roberto Bruce, along with numerous staff, had boarded a military aircraft to document the recovery efforts after the 2010 earthquake which had ravaged the country, with the plane heading for the island of Robinson Crusoe, a destination that they would sadly never reach, as Jean-Philippe would interrupt KA7 to share the devastating news that the plane had crashed into the ocean and that everyone aboard had likely been killed instantly, including the entire team that TVN had sent and some of the network's most prominent presenters. The news sent shockwaves across the entire country and especially the TVN network, with the on-air team having to report that their close friends and colleagues had tragically passed away. And over the course of the following days, numerous bodies would be found floating near the crash site, along with debris and eventually the craft itself. It was said that the flight had encountered heavy winds upon reaching their destination, leading to 2 failed landing attempts, and while making a large U-turn to try their 3rd landing attempt, the flight would disappear into the water, likely as a result of the craft running out of fuel.
Jesus, dude.
The interruption of the television program was and is considered a truly grim moment in the world of television. But the situation...
Chat, okay, guys, I've been looking into a lot of plane stuff, okay, and a lot of, flight disappearances. Something I've noticed in aircraft that are commercial is that they have a lot more fuel than they really need, right? Only three attempts for landing and they ran out of fuel. I thought it would be way more than that. Sometimes you have to chat. Airplanes that have rides, they have like 6 hours of extra fuel and whatnot.
Only gets more eerie as, upon searching the wreckage,
4 hours.
divers would discover that the network's cameraman had been filming minutes before the crash, getting shots of each and every person aboard, all of whom were clueless to the fact that in just a few minutes' time, they would all be dead. It's unexplainably haunting watching a group of people unknowingly experiencing their final moments on this earth. But evidently, this footage wasn't the only morbid discovery. Within one of the camera's SD cards was a curious set of 6 images. Images that at a glance are not directly discernible, but once some effects are applied, start to become a bit more clear. As in the most infamous example, we see what appears to be a plane window, along with a large amount of water covering the lens, with the image being timestamped after the plane had impacted the water. And to make things even stranger, the SD card that was storing these images was allegedly found inside an empty water bottle. And though to my knowledge it has never been proven, these images introduce the idea that at the very least, the cameraman, Romina Irazabel, was alive and even conscious after the crash. And snapped the pictures before placing the SD card in the water bottle in order to save them from corrupting in the salt water. Which would also mean that he was alive and trapped aboard the broken vessel as it slowly sank to the bottom of the ocean, drowning with no hope of escaping the wreckage. To this day, the broadcast interruption, the footage, and the haunting unexplained final images cultivates into what can only be described as one of the darkest moments in TV history.
This is unbelievable. We don't know what just happened right now.
I guess we'd have to watch a more detailed breakdown of can they normally find what is the cause of death or whatever, or if it's like drowning or the impact or whatever? Because that seems really elaborate. That they're going down, taking pictures, they have time to take the pictures and get it out and put it in another bottle. It seems really elaborate.
All across my channel is endless proof that the internet can be a dark, unforgiving place. And unfortunately, it's become far too easy for data brokers to find our personal information,
Who is this?
like our full legal home addresses, and
They're probably just going to let this thing play out.
Face reveal guy.
So much further.
This may be the end of this thing.
Put the mask back on. I'm just kidding.
We have one helicopter that is no more than 300 to 200 feet above this white Bronco that O.J. Simpson is in at this time.
There's something inherently captivating about watching a live police chase or standoff.
That's
Perhaps
right.
it's the danger of it all, the feeling that at any moment, anything can happen.
That's right.
As you sit there watching it all unfold with no way of knowing how it'll end. Now, some of these turn out to have comedic finales, going on to gain notoriety for just how outrageous they are.
This is like a comfortable stroll that this guy's just taken through the neighborhood.
Somebody, making the decision said, just let this guy go.
While others conclude in complete disaster.
Luckily, not a lot of people are just, wow, just missing those cars into that power line there. Wow, and that is quite the ending to this pursuit.
And throughout the history of televised police chases and police standoffs, certain moments have left viewers shocked. History of
let this guy go.
While others conclude in complete disaster.
Luckily, not a lot of people are just, wow, just missing those cars into that power line there. Wow, and that is quite the ending to this pursuit.
And throughout the history of televised police chases and police standoffs, Certain moments have left viewers shocked and traumatized by their abruptly disturbing endings.
Well, I mean, shit,
with one of the most recognized examples coming from all the way back in 1998, in the world's capital for this type of content.
This is Today in LA, first edition, with Carla Arago.
It happened on April 30th at approximately 3 p.m. when residents in LA had their evening programming interrupted by breaking news. A standoff of sorts had been developing on the Harbor Freeway, one in which numerous stations, even those showing children's cartoons, would cut to. And glued to their screens, adults and children alike would watch as 40-year-old Daniel V. Jones would exit his vehicle and display a homemade banner that read, "HMOs are in it for the money. Live free, love safe, or die," which was neatly placed on the ground as if he knew helicopters would be arriving to capture this unfolding dilemma. Daniel had been sick with cancer for some time and had just recently been diagnosed with HIV, something that he only blamed himself for. However, these illnesses led to a growing disdain for HMOs, or health maintenance organizations, and he would express his displeasure for them in a phone call to 911 at the very beginning of the incident. During the call, he relayed how he believed the organizations valued profits over the lives of him and countless others, and he wanted to expose them and all their harmful practices in front of the entire world. And now, he had his audience. So, with the whole world watching, Daniel entered his truck with his dog Gladys, lit a Molotov cocktail, and ignited a fire inside the vehicle, all while the broadcast stayed riveted on him. The scene was absolutely brutal, but it got even worse as he eventually exited the car, still on fire and now badly burned. And despite knowing that Daniel clearly had the intention of ending his life, the cameras just kept on rolling, and they continued to roll even as he brandished a shotgun, and followed through on his ultimate desire, as his life came to a gruesome end. All the while, thousands of children at home who were just trying to see their favorite cartoons watched on. The incident became a PR nightmare for the multiple stations that were live on the scene and seriously called into question the morality of broadcasting incidents of this nature.
Guys,
but it seems that the ratings they received were just too good to ever stray away from the practice.
How many times have I fucking said this shit? Because I've been saying this for a fucking decade, yo.
In fact, if anything, this incident
smiling because I've been saying this forever.
As it was the ultimate example that anything can happen on live TV. And yes, despite the tragic result and its human toll, this incident ultimately gave rise to even more broadcasts of this nature that are still to this day a commonplace. With one in—
Yes, so because I contribute to it is the fact that overall people are being very hypocritical in their in their daily life, and they shame a lot of people for doing things that's too far. When on national television they display and they do the worst possible behaviors for content out there. It is disgusting. The thing that they do, that they get away, they dox people on national television. It's insane, and nobody cares. But oh, this guy said something, dude, that's crazy, dude. But then they do it on TV. You're displaying to the public a behavior, and you're scolding them for doing something that is like 1% as bad. It's stupid.
In particular, leaving a lasting impact on myself for nearly a decade now. It started the same as any other live police chase, with multiple stations interrupting their broadcast with that classic flashing breaking news text. It was the 27th of July, 2007 in Phoenix, Arizona, where we're thrust into the action of a high-speed chase occurring at roughly 12:30 p.m. According to the broadcast, this white pickup truck had crashed into a police cruiser upon being pulled over and took off for unknown reasons, prompting not only a hefty response by local police, but local news stations as well, as after only a few minutes, news helicopters were already in the sky, streaming the whole situation out to the world. At some point in this chase, police were able to use a spike strip and seemingly shred all the tires from the man's truck, prompting him to slow down drastically and eventually bring his car to a complete stop.
And it looks like they're probably just going to let this thing play out. Yeah, he can't go much further.
This may be the end of this thing.
This led to the cameras in the sky scrambling to get that perfect shot as the dramatic finale of this chase was growing ever so close. Though no one could have imagined the tragic end that this was all headed for.
Well, he's taking off running.
Okay, now it's a foot chase.
Okay, now he's jumped into another vehicle.
Okay.
All right, they're closing in. Looks like they've...
Oh, jeez.
We're going to pull out. We don't... We don't know what has just happened right there. It looks like the police have closed in on him. We don't know what exactly has transpired between the police.
As the camera is fixed in on the action, we see a brief moment of static before the broadcast cuts back to the studio, followed by a hurried commercial break as confusion seems to fill the set, leaving the audience baffled at how they could pull away from the footage at such a tense, important moment,
like the heli got
causing
stuck
many
into
to change
something.
the channel in a hurry to see just how this thing would end, which is where many would be faced with the reality of what exactly they had just witnessed.
Not power lines, they fly too high.
Wait, I got a problem here.
No,
Okay.
it can't be on it's in the power lines. Let me explain why. The reason why I know this is that the protocol with things like that, the police helicopters, they fly really low, but still pretty high, right? And the news helicopters fly much higher, much away from all the fucking this stuff. So it didn't get caught in the wire or something like that. It just probably just crashed or something happened with it. But it's way out.
I got an accident. Go north. Go north. I got a helicopter down.
Oh, no. Connie is telling us she has a helicopter down. Oh, no, Connie. This is unbelievable. All right, well, we're going to leave that pursuit and find out. Oh, this is miserable. This is unbelievable. Connie, can you tell us, are you getting chatter? You would know more than us right now.
I don't know.
At this moment, while KNVX TV's helicopter, piloted by Craig Smith, along with cameraman Rick Krolak, was capturing the action, a separate helicopter piloted by Scott Bowerbank and cameraman Jim Cox from the KTVK station had been unknowingly heading directly towards them. And with all four men blinded by their obligation to capture this chase in real time, the two aircrafts would unexpectedly collide, leading to the free fall of both helicopters and the deaths of all four aboard. The footage was captured by both parties involved and shown live to who knows how many people, with both providing equally chilling moments, like in the original KNVX TV broadcast, where you can hear the faint yelling of one of the men on board.
Well, we don't know what has just happened right there. It looks like the police.
And in the KTVK helicopter, when Jim Cox says the line,
Now he's hitting eastbound and he just hit some more barricades. Absolutely unbelievable. This guy doesn't care what he hits.
when in reality, the very craft he was in was mere moments away from barreling straight into the other news chopper.
Yeah.
The entire scene is certainly one of the darkest police chases ever recorded. And to me, what makes it all the more gut-wrenching is seeing the other news
that comment was a little bit out of pocket, to be honest, but okay.
stations swarm to cover the crash.
Yeah, I was about to say
with many of those people forced to cover the incident being acquaintances and even good friends with the people they had just watched perish, leading to some genuinely heartbreaking reactions.
Holy crap! Oh no! Oh Jesus! Oh God! Oh my gosh! Hey, oh my God! Channel 15 and Channel 3 just had a mid-air collision. Just watch that whole thing. I'm good. I'm off your nose. I'll get back ready. I think it was Scott.
Don't be weird, chat.
But there's one thing I would request is please leave my family alone.
Chat, it's a very visceral reaction. That could have been him. And it was his. Like probably the people that are in the same position as him in other networks, or whatever. It's really like it's almost to you, you know. You're kind of like
nearly 18 years ago now, a strange phenomenon hit British tabloids as the papers began to report on a seemingly mundane man named Mick Philpott. As far as I could tell, he never seemed to go out of his way to acquire this fame, but rather the lifestyle he lived caused it to occur organically. And for all the wrong reasons. The then nearly 50-year-old man had recently become a father of 15, with the children split up between 5 different women, 2 of which he took turns living with in a sort of love triangle situation. And if the living arrangements and the sheer number of kids wasn't intriguing enough, he further gained infamy thanks in large part due to his attitude on working, as he refused to get a job and instead would allegedly scheme his way into getting exponential amounts of government benefits. And he did so all the while his pregnant wife and his pregnant girlfriend carried out full-time jobs.
Jesus.
It's easy to find their living arrangements strange and maybe even a bit comical, but behind it all was actually a very legitimate dark side, as Mick had a habit of finding young, vulnerable girls to essentially groom and impregnate. His now wife, Mareed, was just 18 years old at the time they began dating, and she was one of the older ones, as when he was 37, he struck up a relationship with a 14-year-old girl who eventually ran away with him at the age of 16. And this dark side of his gets worse when it's revealed that he was also a notorious domestic abuser, slapping and violently beating his past partners on numerous occasions, including one instance when he stabbed his ex-girlfriend 12 times, before then turning the knife on her mother, who attempted to step in and help. His reason for doing this? Well, he didn't like that she spent so much time watching over a baby she was caring for. Thankfully, despite the traumatic injuries, the mother and daughter would survive the attack and go on to live normal lives. And because of this assault, Mick would receive the staggering prison sentence of 7 years.
What?
By the 80s, he was a free man, continuing his nefarious activities all the while. For lack of a better word, Mick was a menace, who somehow was not only a free man after all the crimes he committed.
Wait, they have a bunch of crimes, they have an established pattern, an established motive, they have everything, and they get 7 years for like attempted double murder? What?
But was also having his entire life funded by the very government that should have locked him away for so much longer. And with his name now in the press, mainly for his number of children, he would use his platform to complain that the benefits he received weren't enough, and that he wanted even more. This caused an even bigger stir in the tabloids, and it was only a matter of time before someone called him up to appear on TV, with Mick and his two lovers eventually being invited onto the Jeremy Kyle show, where Mick's temper would be put on full display.
That's just a Jerry Springer copy. Bro, this is the Maury Show copy. This is a copycat,
where Mick's temper would be put on full display.
Me. I said your kids, when they came here today, were well-behaved and well-mannered and well-groomed. No newspaper said that, so you should be apologising to me, because I hadn't even started on you.
It's the same format.
You start.
It's the same format. Jerry. Holy shit.
Eventually, Mick would settle down, and his wife Mareed and girlfriend Lisa Willis were brought out to discuss their relationship further, to which the two surprisingly seemed very content, not backing down from their stance that there was nothing wrong with their feelings towards Mick.
Do you not get slightly peeved that she is Mrs. Mick and you're Mistress Mick?
No.
I'm being serious.
No, I don't. You don't bother me one bit.
Ending the program off on a surprising note for the host, who likely expected some sort of reaction from the pair, even getting frustrated to the point where he would lambast the girls for their laissez-faire attitude.
Where is your dignity? You're 22. Don't you want a bloke to yourself? He just said, I agree with you. When you grew up, did you think you were going to share your bloke with another woman?
I didn't actually know. But 2 mums is better for all the kids.
Or confusing? No.
And as the show came to an end, so too did Mick's 15 minutes of fame, as the paper slowly began to find their next target, and the world continued on with Mick, his 15 kids, and multiple lovers out of mind.
Yeah, why is Zia not in jail if she was 14 at the time? Isn't that just jail right there?
Until the year 2012, when his name would pop up once again for a much different reason.
Yeah, but we've got the police on the way. Have you any idea what's caused the fire? I don't know, because they woke up, I didn't know. There's smoke everywhere.
Nah, no shots.
On May 12, 2012, Mick's home would catch on fire in the dead of night, while he, his wife Mareed, and their many children were sleeping peacefully. In the panic, the couple managed to escape with some of their kids, but tragically, 6 of them, all of whom were below the age of 10, would pass away in the blaze, having been stuck upstairs and inaccessible to any form of rescue. By the 16th of May, the story had reached far and wide of the tragedy that unfolded, with Mick and Mareed garnering widespread community support. Locals in the area would even band together and raise the money for the children's funeral, prompting the emotional pair to give a heartfelt thank you through the media.
I've actually been down to our home, and what we saw, we just cannot believe it. to see this community to come together like they have, it's just too overwhelming. But there's one thing I would request is please leave my family alone. If you've got any questions or anything at all, please don't come through me or my family. Please go to the police.
And for many, this would have likely been the last they'd ever hear of this broken family, had it not been for a single discovery found within the home's debris.
Yeah, for sure. How they started.
While sifting through the burnt remains of the house, police would discover gasoline in the mailbox, which when found at crime scenes is typically associated with arson. And coincidentally, the very morning of the fire, Mick just so happened to have a court hearing to obtain custody over he and Lisa Willis's children, the second woman who had appeared with Mick on the Jeremy Kyle show. Given that the general public had immediately stopped caring about this family after their appearance on TV, not many knew that Mick and Lisa had actually split up in the following years and were in the midst of a bitter custody dispute, leading to speculation that Lisa may have intentionally set Mick's home on fire as some sort of vindictive act. Or at least, that's what Mick wanted us to believe.
Yeah, no shot. Nope. She was probably gonna win 100%, right? And yeah, I get it. I get it now.
What did you say about me trying to get in?
You tried everything you could to get in, knock us out, so I wanted to run through the flames, up the stairs.
Were you crying when you were saying it? How bad?
Not really, really bad, but...
Hold up, chat, let me one more pause. One more pause, chat, guys. I see a lot of crime docs, and I watch a lot of it, okay? It's a common theme with some of these things, okay? A lot of times when some parents, they have the crime mentality of if I can't have it, you can't have it, right? And they do that to their children, and it's completely fucked, dude. All right, mods, ban everybody who said and ban the emote. Boom, done.
Circle.
Fingerprint on the window. That's it.
I don't give a fuck. Just give me a fucking 1 week ban. I don't give a fuck. Fuck all of them.
It's my fault that the family's gone. It's my fault we lost that kid.
Upon doing an in-depth investigation, which included bugging a hotel room that Mick and Marie were staying in, police would eventually capture a verbal confession that proved the married couple had actually been the ones to initially set the fire, along with their friend.
Guys, if you're gonna go on Twitter and on Reddit and shit on me all the time to do for no react type shit, right? And I'm actually interested in this video and I want to talk to Chad about it, and I react, dude. You guys are being stupid, dude. Because that's like, what the fuck is that? That like, I do the things that you want me to do, even though I want to do it regardless, right? And you punish me for it. You're a fucking dumbass. You're stupid as fuck. I don't give a fuck. Cry more? Well, I'm not crying. You're crying because you're getting smoked.
Paul
Dumbass.
Mosley. But why? Well, their goal wasn't actually to kill the children. It was instead to save them. In reality, they had planned on setting the fire in a way that Mick and Marie could swoop in at the last minute and save all the kids, as a way of making them appear as heroes, before going on to pin the fire on Lisa, and in turn having her arrested while they obtained custody of her children. It was an evil plan that was made so much worse when the fire spread too quickly, making the rescue of the children upstairs almost immediately impossible. And in his desperate attempt to gain even more children under his roof, Mick ended up killing 6 of his very own. It's particularly chilling watching the 3 of these people sitting in unison on that fateful program, none of whom knowing just how bitter things would turn, and how 2 of them would eventually become murderers, all in an attempt to frame the other. It's unspeakably dark. And thankfully this time, Mick Philpott will be kept in prison till the day he dies, exactly where he belongs.
I don't even buy the story that they're saying either.
There are a lot of accusations and allegations about what's happening.
I'm going to do something that is unthinkable.
What was that?
Our next case is by far the most requested topic that I have ever received on this channel, as it seems to strike a chord with so many who watched the situation unfold live. It all started on the evening of June 25th, 2007, the night in which the WWE had been preparing to air a live 3-hour program known as Raw. The event was set to feature their usual star-studded list of wrestlers going head-to-head in Corpus Christi, Texas. Though the morning of, out of the group of those star wrestlers, one man was missing, Chris Benoit. According to fellow wrestler Chavo Guerrero, he had received a voicemail from Benoit 2 days prior, where he was told that Benoit's wife Nancy and son Daniel had come down with food poisoning, before telling another co-worker the following day that Nancy was so sick that she had been vomiting blood. Guerrero would go on to state that the following morning he received vague text from Benoit, with some simply stating his address and another giving directions to where the dogs were being kept, and how the side door to the house was left unlocked. Texts that were sent around 3 a.m. and ignored by Guerrero, as he knew he would be seeing Benoit in just a few hours, given that he was going to be picking him up at the airport in preparation for the show.
Huh?
Though he would never hear from Benoit again.
Good evening. Tonight, this arena here in Corpus Christi, Texas, was to have been filled to capacity with enthusiastic WWE fans.
Talking about, man?
In reality, WWE superstar Chris Benoit, his wife Nancy, and their son Daniel are dead.
With the program growing nearer on the 25th, news would be relayed to the WWE that Chris Benoit, along with Nancy and Daniel, had been found dead within their home. The news came as a shock to the entire wrestling world, and not wanting to carry on with the regularly scheduled Raw event, the decision was made to cancel the matches and instead showcase a tribute to the famed wrestler who so suddenly lost his life. And so on the evening of June 25th, 2007, the WWE would reflect on some of Chris Benoit's best moments in the circuit, along with their biggest stars giving personal accounts of just how much Benoit meant to them. With it all happening live and in real time, the very night that Chris was found dead. Throughout the program, wrestlers like Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, and CM Punk, who was originally scheduled to fight Benoit that night, shared heartfelt memories of just how good a man Chris Benoit truly was, emphasizing his talent, work ethic, and the love he had for his family.
There was respect. It meant everything to him. Respect for this business, respect for the fans, respect for the wrestlers, respect for his family, respect for himself.
And for a moment, this all seemed to be exactly what the wrestling world needed, to bring everyone together in remembrance. But near the end, a shift seemed to occur following an interview given by William Regal, whose comments towards Benoit felt far more reserved than the others before him, who poured their hearts out over their fallen friend.
At a later date, I'll be quite happy to sit here and tell you all the things about Chris Benoit that I'd like to tell you. But now all I'm willing to say is that Chris Benoit was undoubtedly the hardest working man in professional wrestling.
According to some watching the program, the interview did feel a bit out of place, and apparently slightly threw off the vibe of the remaining show, as things felt far more stiff and reserved than at its opening. And there was good reason for this. When Regal was preparing to do this live interview, he was allegedly approached by fellow wrestler John Layfield, who pulled him aside and asked, "You think he had anything to do with it?" Initially, the thought had never even crossed his mind. In fact, he had a heartfelt message fully prepared to read in the moments leading to his interview. But something about that question made him pause, leading to his subsequent words being rather short and cautious, as the hesitation led to the creeping thought of, what if he really did have something to do with it? A thought that very few at the time had even considered, which looking back seems so surreal. As for those familiar with the case, you know exactly where this is headed.
I don't.
We are now looking at this case and ruling it as a double homicide suicide. Evidence in the home leads us to believe that Mr. Benoit had murdered his wife by asphyxiation. Sometime shortly after that, the same for his son Daniel.
Well,
over the previous days,
I will never understand why the children ever. Okay, I still don't understand why anybody does any of this shit, but especially even more for children, it doesn't make any sense ever.
Before Chris's tribute was aired, he would be the one to take the lives of his wife, son, and eventually himself. Benoit did so by drugging and strangling his son and wife, while leaving Bibles by their side, seemingly as a result of some type of mental breakdown. To this day, an exact motive is still not fully understood, but it likely had to do with a combination of multiple factors, with the most glaring being the head trauma that Benoit had suffered as a result of his profession. As following his death, Benoit's brain was studied by a neurologist who would go on to state that Benoit's brain was so severely damaged, it resembled the brain of an 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient. The gruesome scene uncovered at the family home by the hands of Chris Benoit makes this whole memorial program for him just seem so much more chilling. As not even 24 hours later, the man that was being so highly praised as a loving family man would be revealed to have been the one behind his own family's murder. And as disturbing as this all is, there's plenty of other chilling moments left behind by Benoit, with perhaps none more eerie than the promo he shot for another Raw event just a few years before his death.
My wife and my children will not be watching Raw, because I am going to do something that is unthinkable. I'm going to leave you with my anger. Sleep well.
Wait, yo. I thought WWE, they played characters, right? And they interacted in that way in character and barely made any crossover to like real life or whatever, right? In order to make the show what it is. But that was just like straight up a crossover with like real shit. What was that?
July 7th, 2012.
Si dicen la verdad hasta el final, podrían ganar 50,000 soles.
Television host Beto Ortiz opens up the very first episode of a brand new TV show called El Valor de la Verdad, or The Value of Truth. Throughout its airtime, the show would challenge contestants to answer a series of questions honestly, while strapped to a polygraph test. The test then monitors
Guys, we're just saying 50K sons. What are you saying about?
If the person is telling the truth or not, and with each correct answer, you earn more and more money, until you either choose not to answer a question, or until you're caught lying. Though there was a catch. The questions would get increasingly more difficult and embarrassing, and all the while you're answering them, you're seated directly next to your loved ones, with whom the questions were often based around. The whole program is incredibly cringe-inducing, but in a way that you can't quite take your eyes off. And in Peru, The Value of Truth was poised to become a
That's a moment of truth in Spanish or some shit, dude.
Breakout hit, thanks in large part to the success of this very first episode.
Oh man.
In it, we're introduced to the contestant Ruth Thalia Sea Sanchez, a 19-year-old call center employee hoping to gain fame from the show, while being accompanied by her parents and boyfriend Brian Romero Lavea. And they could not have selected a better inaugural participant. Up until this point, Ruth had lived her life in a state of poverty, and the type of money offered by the program would be life-changing for both herself and her family, which might explain her openness on air, as throughout the entire program, Ruth answers each and every question with painful honesty. In one moment, she admits that she wishes that she were white, and in another, she stated how she was often embarrassed by her parents' manners, which she says as they sat directly across from her.
True. Jesus,
You can feel the tension.
Chat, we wanted to chat, and chat would say, -1 wife plus 20K, -2 parents plus 50K.
Each answer seems to drive a dagger into her parents' hearts, eventually leaving her mother in tears. And it only gets more painful from here, as she was asked, "Are you with your crush until someone better arrives?" To which she says, yes, with her boyfriend watching on just feet away. And following this, the questions would become more and more intrusive, with Ruth eventually having to admit that in order to pay her bills, she worked at a nightclub as a stripper, which was news to all of her loved ones who sat there stunned by the revelation, especially her boyfriend Brian. A revelation that leads us to Ruth's final question, and the most painful one of all. Have you ever accepted money in exchange for sex? A question which she would answer, yes, before promptly ending her time on the show 3 questions away from the finale.
Wait. Oh, she said no one she lied.
Me retiro.
Se retira.
Me retiro.
The whole ordeal left everyone, including the audience, completely stunned. On one hand, many applauded Ruth for being so honest, and on the other, she was criticized for putting her family, and her boyfriend specifically, through this embarrassing line of questions, broadcast for the whole country to see. The cringe-inducing episode became so popular that the station supposedly aired it each weekend for a staggering 12 weeks straight.
What?
The show and Ruth herself became instant phenomenons, and in a sense, this did bring Ruth some of the fame that she so desperately desired, making appearances on multiple news programs in the following weeks, and becoming a legitimate household name in Peru. And the finances helped her situation too, as she walked away with 15,000 sols, or about $5,800 US back then. And for a moment, it seemed as if the pain of releasing all this private information might have actually been worth it. Until the day she vanished. Out of nowhere, Ruth suddenly went radio silent, missing appointments and failing to answer her phone while her home sat vacant. For 10 days straight, there was no sign of the young star, prompting a massive search of the area she lived in, with those same loved ones that had accompanied her on The Value of Truth helping lead the search efforts. Until, eventually, police would happen across her lifeless body, buried in a shallow grave. She had died of asphyxiation, a clear-cut case of murder, and there was only ever one suspect. Just before Ruth had vanished, she would make an appearance on TV, in which she appeared lower energy than normal, expressing her sadness in the fact that her and her boyfriend Brian had broken up, likely as a result of the embarrassment brought about by the show. And with this in mind, Brian had been questioned about his role in her disappearance, and eventually admit to everything. Angered by the embarrassment that Ruth had caused him in front of the entire nation, and feeling as if he was owed a certain percentage of the money that Ruth had earned, Brian would visit Ruth's home and drug her with sleeping pills before proceeding to assault her and eventually hang her. He would then bury her body in the hopes that she would never be found. Years later, Brian would be found guilty of Ruth's murder and receive the punishment of life in prison.
Actual fuck?
Despite its very first episode leading to a prolific murder case, The Value of Truth remained a hit show for years to follow, until it would eventually fizzle out and be taken off the air, leaving in its wake a multitude of embarrassing memories, and one of the darkest moments in TV history.
That's just unhinged, to be honest. I mean, also the fact that, I don't want to make it about money that much, but I mean, shit. The fact that it was ultimately about money, and the fact that they aired it for so much and she only got 6K. Brother, if it aired that much, they probably made a stack out of it, and she only got 6K total from it. That's like, what the fuck is wrong with them?
Hi, Dr. Bernard here. The point of this video...
What the fuck? What? Who linked this shit?
Yo, this is X.
Okay, that's it.